Okay, let's have some fun.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We have a special show today, a Thursday edition of Extreme Health Radio. We typically are doing shows on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but today we have a special guest, Dr. Lindsey Duncan. I'm really excited about having him on. I've been following his work for quite a few years, and he's doing great work out in Texas. So we'll introduce him in just a moment, but I wanted to let you know we are broadcasting worldwide from Southern California. So thank you for joining us and spending some time with us to learn about your health and how your body works from Dr. Duncan. If you want to follow us on Facebook, feel free to do that at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook. We'd be honored to have you aboard. And thank you to Mr. Mike Adams of Natural News Radio for having us on his network on naturalnewsradio.com. It's an honor and a privilege to be on there. And today is Thursday, December 20th, 2012. I think we only have 2 days left till we all perish from the Mayan calendar, so maybe the doctor can set us straight on that. This is episode number 50, so you can find it at extremehealthradio.com/50, and on that page you'll find the show notes and any reference materials that Dr. Duncan talks about. And if you'd like to ask a question, please email me at justin@extremehealthradio.com. Or you can call our voicemail line and have your voice on the air as well. That is 949-391-7363. And this show is brought to you by Amazon.com. If you make any purchases through our link, we'll get a little commission that will help keep things sustainable around here and keep us in the positive. You can check that out at extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, and that would help support our work. And before I introduce Dr. Duncan, I just want to tell you a little bit about our upcoming show schedule. We're pretty packed on, actually we have a little break next week for Christmas, but then on Friday of next week we've got Dr. Doug Graham. He wrote the 80-10-10 diet, and that should be an interesting discussion. So check that out. And then we have Dr. David Kennedy talking about fluoride and the health of your teeth and your gums and the mouth. And then we've got Sandor Katz on the following Friday, the 4th of January, talking about fermented foods and wild fermentation and all of that good stuff. So, but today we have Dr. Lindsey Duncan, and he is an amazing individual. He has over 40,000 hours of clinical hours with patients, seeing patients. He's a founder and CEO of Genesis Today, and his website is genesistoday.com and askdrlindsey.com, and he's worked with people for 30 years helping to overcome their health challenges. He's worked with Tony Robbins, traveling all around the world, developing products and giving presentations. He's worked with Marc Jacobs, the fashion designer. Tony Dorsett, the famous NFL Hall of Fame football player, Reggie Bush, just to name a few. And I think I saw on your Facebook page, Dr. Lindsey, you had some pictures with Hillary Clinton there.
I did, yes.
That was pretty amazing. You work with everybody.
That was a long time ago too. I think that was probably in the 90s.
Yeah.
I sent Hillary and President Clinton nutrition programs to the White House.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you think a lot of these people stick with your programs after you've stopped working with them?
Yes, I'm aware that they do. I mean, people like Ringo Starr, for years or actually for decades, have stayed on my program. I know Sharon Stone was taking products that I recommended, and so generally speaking, yes, they will stay on the products and the programs for quite some time, and the reason is because they simply feel the results.
Yeah, gosh, that's amazing. And you have so many great products. I mean, I was just looking at one of your most recent ones, which is something for kids, like a juice box for kids. It's not going to kill them.
Yeah, right. Right. It doesn't have 40 grams of sugar and doesn't have all the chemicals and the aspartame and all the ACE-K, all the stuff that destroys their small, underdeveloped bodies. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get healthy things into people's bodies that do no harm.
Wow, that's great. What do you think the chances of having some of those things in, like, you know how when you used to be at school, you'd have those, what were they called, the vending machines where they would always have the snacks in there? Do you think there's a way to get good, healthy snacks in there for kids?
No, we've looked into that, and we've actually tried, and, the schools will always come back with, I mean, at some point, yes, but the schools always come back and say, no, we can only pay 5 cents a juice box, and so, and then we come back and say, well, our cost of goods is 20 cents a juice box or 30 cents a juice box. They go, well, we don't care. We can only pay, our budget's only 5 cents. And it's like, well, but the 5 cents juice box that you're giving them is killing them. It's destroying the pancreas, and it's destroying the central nervous system, and it's destroying their kidneys, and it has chemicals. Well, we don't care. We only have 5 cents to spend on a juice box. So, and the conversation, how it goes.
Yeah, that's, well, it's a good start getting those things out there with the juice boxes that you're making, and, because that's our future with the kids. So I think that's great.
It's all changing, and it just takes time. It takes a lot longer than what we want.
Do you think the mainstream media will ever make that connection between diet and the kids' behavior and things like that in the classroom? Do you think there'll ever be a connection? Because if there were a connection, you would think they would be all over your products and healthier things in the vending machines.
Yes, they will make the connection. They're starting to make the connection. And boy, if I could just rewind and show you what this world of natural health and natural healing and even nutritional supplements was like 30 years ago, it would literally shock you. The progress that's been made. People always want to say, oh, there's all these problems and nobody gets it. But boy, if I could rewind 30 years ago and show everybody what we were talking about and what was accepted, it's just amazing the progress that we've made. So I'm happy. I mean, yeah, we're not where we should be, but boy, we are really, really doing a lot better, a lot more knowledgeable. 28 years ago, if you talked about leaky gut syndrome or ADD or hyperactivity, people looked at you and kind of scratched their head and said, what are you talking about?
Right. There was no connection at all back then.
And today it's all connected. Now people get the leaky gut, they get the allergies, they get that the body's intestinal tract is not working right. They understand that much of the immune system is in the intestinal tract. They understand that obesity is a severe problem in this country and that people are only getting heavier and only getting more toxic and only getting, sicker.
Yeah. I'm starting to see that connection as well. I mean, just at the grocery store the other day, there was a whole gluten-free section, in a grocery store, and it's just a conventional, I think a Ralph's or some kind of Albertsons or something like that. And man, to have a gluten-free section in a store like that, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, even at Walmart, we have products at Walmart that are insanely healthy. And 20 years ago, Walmart couldn't even spell healthy.
Yeah. Oh, man. I know. So did you mean that you yourself have some of the Genesis Today products in Walmart, or it's just you meant in general they have healthy products?
No, Genesis Today is not allowed in Walmart. We have a brand in Walmart. Well, Genesis Today supplements. We have a brand in Walmart called Pure Health. And it's in the supplement section, and it's formulated to have a lower cost for the average Walmart shopper, but it's still produced by us, and it's still utilizing our raw materials.
That's at least, hey, that's a start. Yeah,
people can try green coffee bean for $10, or they can try, Caroluma fimbriata for $10.
Yeah, gosh, that's good. Well, great progress. So what do you see as far as your experience? Are you noticing different types of diseases? I know you don't see patients. I don't think you see patients anymore, but, in the field, in the thick of it, are you seeing different types of issues people are dealing with today versus 30 years ago?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What's happening without trying to, without getting too deep? The industrial world has released its poison, its toxin into the industrialized nations, and that has now made its way into the water, the food, the office, the home, into everything that flows and everything that we are affected by. And it's now finding its way into these disease conditions, especially the heavy metals and the chemicals and the poisons and toxins. So many, many years ago, you didn't even have the name or the condition that you find today. You didn't have a long time ago, attention deficit disorder. You didn't have the need for some of these harsh chemicals. You didn't have hyperactivity disorders. You didn't have the leaky gut syndrome going on, or the severe allergies where people can't even wash their clothes in a certain detergent, or they can't get close to a cat or close to a carpet. I mean, so it's all amplifying, it's all compounding, and much of it goes back to the destruction of our environment. And when I say our environment, I mean our external environment, our planet, our home, our office, our car, where we spend our time, and also our internal environment, our bloodstream, our lymphatic system, our intestinal tract, and how we operate internally.
Yeah, that's so true. And what's interesting is I've been thinking about this lately, is the role of your mental state and stress and all of that. Do you think there's a difference between the diagnosis someone gets from a doctor, whatever the diagnosis is, IBS or cancer, could be anything. Do you think there's a difference between the diagnosis and the actual condition itself as far as which one affects you more?
You mean the diagnosis or the condition?
Yeah, because I'm noticing people tend to own their diagnosis. People give their rheumatoid arthritis a nickname and call it my RA and, things like that, where it almost seems like the mental state of being diagnosed by a doctor is pretty bad in and of itself.
Yeah, I think that it depends on the individual, Justin, and the reason why is because working in a nutrition clinic, I've seen people who all of a sudden learn what they have. All of a sudden, it was relief. It gave them relief, and then they rolled up their sleeves and they did the work and they remedied the situation. So they took the knowledge and they utilized it. It became powerful to them. While I've seen what you're talking about, which is the flip side of the coin, which is somebody learns that they have a disease, it's given a label, and that kind of freaks them out. Right. And then all of a sudden they start to spiral downhill because they think that they're going to get sick, and they're getting sick, and they're going to not be able to recover, and then the downhill spiral begins. Right. So I've seen both sides happen. But for me, in general, one of the things that I love about the medical profession, this is unusual for me to say, but one of the things that I love is the diagnostics. A good naturopath is going to say utilize the medical profession for the diagnostics, because if you can glean and gather the information, then you don't have to take the drugs unless, of course, it's an emergency, but you can remedy the situation by understanding how to achieve homeostasis, by understanding how to get the body back to the state where it's supposed to do the job it's supposed to do, which is to heal itself.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And for people just to know what's going on with their body, it's important to know and maybe get diagnosed, and so they actually understand why they're having the problems they're having. And so it can be a very powerful tool.
And today, there's answers everywhere today. When I was sick as a child, many years ago, decades ago, I didn't have this information. I had to hit dead end after dead end myself, and then finally I had to turn to nutrition because it was the only thing left that I could turn to then start to heal, to then start to get answers.
What kind of things were you afflicted with as a child?
Well, when I was born, my mother almost died, and so did I. She had a very, very severe infection. And then back then, at that time when I was born, the antibiotics were extremely strong. They were very powerful and harsh. And so I spent the first several months of my life hooked up to antibiotics, never spending any time with my mother. and was just very, very sick. And those antibiotics did quite a bit of damage to my body. And so I went through the first 18 years of my life with, everything from immune issues, severe immune issues, to respiratory, pretty serious respiratory issues. And I basically went in and out of hospitals and in and out of different doctors trying to find out what was wrong with me. And, everybody was clueless. They didn't know what was going on with my body. And I realized, as I started to get into nutrition, that it was extreme toxicity. And then I began a path to detoxify my body.
Wow, God.
And that's how I got involved in the industry. That's how I connected with Bernard Jensen. That's how I ended up spending 7.5 years with Dr. Jensen. And then I started my clinic. And then from that point, the rest is history. I became one of the more successful nutritionists or naturopaths in the world at that time.
Golly, that's amazing that they would give such a little child antibiotics like that with an immune system that's not fully developed yet.
Well, their objective was to keep me alive, and so they gave the antibiotics because I had a really bad infection. So they were doing their standard protocol. That's what the medical profession was taught to do. The infant has an infection, then we have to give them these antibiotics. They didn't know at the time, that the antibiotics were as harsh as they were. They've since then adjusted them, modified them.
Do a lot of people that you used to see, did they have the understanding that there are natural cures to things, and sometimes or most of the time, they're more powerful than conventional treatments?
Yeah, they didn't, but they did after the first month because they got such great results when they came to me in my clinic. Now people get it. Now everybody understands that not everybody, but most people understand, because there's been so much information out there and so much education that, for many conditions there are natural remedies, natural diet, natural lifestyle modifications that have, incredible results and no side effects.
Yeah, I think that's important to get that word out there, that people can know that, just because a doctor tells them there's no hope or tells them, this, that, or the other, that it's just so amazing to know that there are other cures for things and other ways to deal with these certain conditions that your doctor may not even know about.
Yeah, and again, most doctors are not trained, on nutrition or trained on natural plant compounds. They're trained on medicine. So, it's like going to a mechanic to get your hair cut. You don't go to a mechanic to get your hair cut. Doctors are trained with medicine. They're trained to treat a condition, and they're trained to utilize medicine to treat that condition. A nutritionist or a naturopath is trained to understand why something is happening, what causes it, what is the cause and effect, and then how to use lifestyle, dietary changes, nature, nutrition, and supplementation, and exercise to remedy the problem.
Ah, that's so great. And I love that. Doctor, we got to take a quick break. We got to do a little ad here for our sponsor, and we'll be right back with Dr. Lindsey Duncan. His website is genesistoday.com, and that's where all of his products are. And he's also got drlindsey.com. So make sure to visit him there, and we'll be right back after this break. Hey there, thanks for listening to the interview so far. I wanted to tell you quickly about a product called the Longevity Now program. It's put together by David Wolfe, who, if you haven't heard, is one of the most prolific authors out there. He's a world's leading authority on raw food nutrition and just an amazing guy. So we've been following his work for many, many years, and he's doing a lot of groundbreaking work in the area of calcium and how to dissolve these bad calcium deposits in our body. And that's what's responsible for fibrosis and calcium buildup, and essentially that's what takes down all mammals. Getting rid of this bad calcium in your body is imperative if you want to live a long, healthy, disease-free life. So the Longevity Now conference, you can either attend it or you could purchase the DVDs and the workbooks online, and I've done both, and they're extremely powerful. They're very motivating, and it helps you follow a protocol that will help you prevent and reverse diseases. It's incredible. So I would highly recommend you check it out. You can learn more at extremehealthradio.com/longevity. And please visit our sponsors, as this is the way that we're helping to maintain ourselves and to get to a level of sustainability. So thank you so much for listening, and let's get back to this interview. All right, we are with Dr. Lindsey Duncan, amazing individual, founder, CEO of Genesis Today, and that's at genesistoday.com. And Dr. Lindsey, I had a couple emails here from listeners who wanted to ask these questions. I'm not going to read them because they're both quite lengthy, but they're both about the same issue, and they're about gallstones and liver, how to cleanse your liver and what causes these gallstones and all of that.
Yeah, sure. Those are pretty easy questions. The best way to cleanse the liver, I'll give you the top 7 or top 8 the foods or supplements for the liver.
Okay.
Number 1 is going to be dandelion root. Number 2 is going to be milk thistle. Number 3, believe it or not, is going to be green coffee bean extract, and it must have the chlorogenic acids in it.
Okay.
Number 4 is going to be artichoke leaf. Number 5 is going to be the Chinese herb Boop Plarum.
Okay.
Number 6 is going to be basic, strong, organic lemon water. And then number 7 is going to be digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes taken with food, and that's a full spectrum digestive enzyme. And then digestive enzymes taken on an empty stomach.
Ah, interesting.
Those techniques, and of course not overeating and not eating late at night. This will sound odd, but what most people don't realize is that the liver and gallbladder rest between 10 and 2. So when people eat at 10 o'clock at night, 10 p.m. at night, they're digesting from 10 to 2 instead of letting the liver relax. The liver is also the organ that holds anger, like the heart holds love and emotion. The liver holds anger. So when we rage from our liver. A lot of times people who are sick and have diseases in their liver hold a lot of anger inside. That's the 3-minute Reader's Digest version of the liver. The gallbladder, the stones are mostly calcium and emulsified fat. Oh. And people go, oh, well, I've got gallstones. Well, most people have gallstones, but they get so bad and so congested because we have faulty digestion. And basically what's happening is we're not able to process the fat, and we're not able to process the calcium properly. We're not able to break it down and get it into the bloodstream. So there are multiple dozens of gallbladder flushes that people can find online, and it's easy to find.
And those are more like with the lemon and the olive oil and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And what foods should people avoid if they have these things?
Fried food, dead food, processed food, overcooked food, preserved food, pickled food, and all of the chemical-laden dead foods. We have to remember, the more dead foods we eat, the more dead we feel. The more live foods we eat, the more alive we feel. These high water content, alkaline diet live foods keep our body flushed, and they are especially beneficial for our liver and gallbladder.
Wow. So you said pickled foods. Would that include like raw sauerkrauts you make at home and things? Or?
No, those are great.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about with all the chemicals.
Oh, I see.
Your fermented foods are hero foods for sure.
Yeah. We love those. Wow. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what do you think is the first order of cleansing, the colon or the gut, or I'm sorry, the colon or the liver? Because I hear both are extremely important.
Yeah, that's like asking which was first, the chicken or the egg. They're so interrelated, and the release of bile from the liver is so critical down into the intestines. And trying to clean one without the other is physiologically impossible. Because the liver has to filter all the toxins and all the blood, but the colon is one of the 4 channels of elimination that release toxins from the body, the largest amount of toxins from the body. So when you address one, you have to address the other. So would you address one before the other, or? No, you get to by addressing one, you're accidentally addressing the other. Oh. You can't clean your liver without cleaning out your colon. It's almost impossible, and you can't clean out your colon without cleaning out your liver. Oh, wow. Okay. So what do you make of... But what I recommend is that you put emphasis on both. So if you're going to get the bowels moving and you're going to clean the colon and you're going to focus on detoxification of the colon, the liver's going to benefit, but all you have to do is add a few of those those natural plant compounds that I just mentioned, and you're going to facilitate and speed up the cleansing of the liver.
Wow, that sounds like fun. You know, what we've been doing lately, my wife and I, is a little like half a lemon juiced and then maybe a tablespoon of olive oil. We've been kind of doing that every single day, and it seems to be having some pretty good effects, but I imagine that would be good for you?
Absolutely, and it's especially good for you if you do it for the like a 3-day cleanse where you're not bringing in a lot of food.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow. So, do you recommend these things like colonics and enemas and things like that as well?
No, I don't usually recommend those unless somebody is doing something therapeutic and they're under the care of their naturopath or their doctor, and they're doing it for a specific reason. So if somebody says, you know what, I want to do a cleanse and I want to do it once a year or twice a year, it's going to be 5 days or 7 days, I want to achieve this objective, then yes, if they're going in to really clean house. But, you know, I practiced in Hollywood, California for a very, very long time, and I saw abuse with colonics and enemas that I could never communicate to you on this call. Extreme abuse.
Yeah, I know, because sometimes I've even heard people doing enemas every single day, and it seems like you'd get kind of reliant on them too.
Well, I've seen people do colonics every single day.
Oh my gosh. The time, were they rebuilding their flora or no?
You can't.
You can't, yeah.
If you're doing them every day, you can't.
Yeah, because it takes a certain amount of time to rebuild that, doesn't it?
You're just pulling it all out. You're pulling everything out.
Is most of the flora, the beneficial bacteria that we get from, fermented foods and things, is it primarily stored in the large intestine or the small intestine? In the large intestine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So when you do a colonic, you're flushing out the large intestine.
Well, you're certainly making it to the transverse. You're going up to the ascending. The descending, and you're going over to the transverse.
Wow, yeah. So if you're wiping out your beneficial bacteria, it's almost akin to taking an antibiotic, maybe.
And yes, but the problem with the antibiotic is that they leave nothing left except the little bit of the bad, and then the bad proliferates, especially when you eat sugar.
Yeah, wow. So with the beneficial bacteria and all of that the antibiotics actually destroy, are some of those destroyed forever in terms of you can never get them back?
No, you can replace them. Your body will manufacture them. What you have to do is get a balance in your ecosystem. And the way you do that is by removing the bad bacteria, the candida, the bad fungus, the yeast, all the stuff that we don't want to proliferate.
Because that stuff's kind of growing out of control with most people, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And our body, if we give our body the chance and we feed it the right foods, and we don't overdo sugar, and we don't overdo the chemicals, and we don't overdo chlorinated water and things that kill the good bacteria, and antibiotics, then our body, even if it's been stripped, will find its balance again.
Wow.
That's what it does when you think about it, Justin. Our body is basically a healing machine. That's one of the misnomers of our industry. People think that a dietary supplement will heal them, and they're going around saying this, and it's not true. Just like people used to say that a drug will heal them. Oh, this drug will cure this disease, or this supplement will cure this disease, and it's not true. If you really go deep into our industry and you ask the true question and you want the true answer, the only thing that really heals is the body's immune system. Our body is the only thing that really heals. What our job is, ultimately, is to supply the body with the building blocks that the body needs to do its job. What's its job? To heal. We know it heals. It's healing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. If you cut yourself, it starts, the blood coagulates. It's healing, and it's always healing. And no product cures anything. It's our body, and the smart nutritionist knows, how can I feed that body? How can I give that body the nutrients and the building blocks that it needs to do its job masterfully?
Yeah, that's amazing, because you're right. It's just the support that we're giving the body to do what it's supposed to do. And yeah, a lot of times people get focused on, like you said, a certain supplement or mineral that's going to help heal them. But yeah, I agree. So you must have seen some people come back from some pretty amazing conditions over the years. What are some of the patients that you've seen come back from the most amazing conditions?
Well, I worked with some people from the nuclear disaster in the Ukraine that we know as Chernobyl. Mm-hmm. And it was when I was practicing in Santa Monica, California, on 7th Street. And I don't remember exactly how many I saw, but it was a large number of people that had flown over. And I had worked with these people, and basically what I'd focused on was, all the other naturopaths and nutritionists that they were seeing were focusing on giving them lots of supplements, and their body couldn't process the supplements. And they'd certainly, been to the medical doctors, and they'd been given lots of drugs, and the drugs just made the liver more toxic. Uh-huh. And what I focused on was more diet and exercise and raw foods and purifying and kind of stimulating the body's own healing and purification mechanisms. And I worked very slowly and very methodically, but the results were just, they were phenomenal results.
Wow! So they were able to detox all of that. What was in their body?
Chemical radiation.
Just the chemical radiation. Wow.
Yeah, it was all from from the nuclear disaster. So it was the fallout, the nuclear fallout.
And so I bet each one of them had different conditions that radiation expressed in each different body, huh?
Yeah, it went to the genetic weakness. It went to the weakest link. Of course, the body, anything attacking the body is going to be opportunistic, and so it's going to go after the weakest link. And so with some people it was the thyroid, and with others it was the nervous system, and then with others it was metabolism, where they gained massive amounts of weight. Others it was the liver, and some it was the colon, and then some it was the lungs. It just depends. Everybody's so different. That's why one size really doesn't fit all.
Yeah. Golly, that's great. That must have been really fun for you to see these people come back,
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't fun. It was fun afterwards because the results were so great. But I took it real serious. And back then I was, much younger, so I was really serious.
Yeah.
All of us perfectionists always take things too serious, Yeah. And I was, I put my battle fatigues on, and I sharpened my sabers before I went into my office, and I walked in with my sunglasses ready for battle every single day.
That's so great. That's great, though. You that must have been just so cool to see these people come back from that after it was all done.
Yeah, one lady was bleeding. Her skin, I guess maybe 70-80% of her whole body was bleeding, and I had her skin, her skin was perfect in, 6 months, 7 months.
Gosh, that's so great. So what kind of diet do you eat? Do you eat mostly raw, or do you eat all raw these days, or what kind of things are you doing?
No, I focus on an alkaline diet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really, really big into keeping my body alkaline. I know what acid does. I know how it destroys the body. So I do a real simple 50-25-15. Okay. I go 50% alkaline vegetables and some fruits, but I stay away from the real sweet fruits. I do dark leafy green vegetables like kale and collards and spinach and all your mustard greens and parsley, and anything that's bitter is always better for me. And so then I do 25% lean protein and healthy fats, so my beans, legumes, sprouts. Don't do too much chicken or turkey, but I will every once in a while do a little bit, mostly seeds, nuts, nut butters, seed butters, and then 15% carbohydrates. But I don't do the carbs that a lot of people do, the Twinkies and the Wonder Bread.
No, I'm shocked.
I do the buckwheat and the millet and the quinoa and the amaranth and all of the, super healthy grains from the different various cultures.
Right. And so do you cook up some of your kale, or do you eat a lot of that stuff raw, or?
Both. I like to juice it a lot, and I'll steam it and drink the pot liquor.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do all the greens, and then I'll drink for about 3 days. I'll drink the pot liquors.
Wow. So I guess there's a variety of ways to eat kale and bitter things like that. You can make kale chips. People are doing that nowadays. Yeah,
I snack on that often during the day.
Do you think there's any issues with the, what do they call it, the goitrogenic properties of cruciferous vegetables like kale? Do you think there's any issues there?
Yeah, there's issues if people have real sensitive digestive tracts, and there's issues if you just ate copious amounts.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people have irritation and get gassy with the cruciferous vegetables. But look, that's what enzymes are for. That just means that their digestive systems have been kind of beaten up, and they just need to repair them.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that would be true. Do you do?
I take enzymes every day.
Enzymes every day.
Will not go a day without it. I take them on an empty stomach, and I take them with food.
Okay. And so do you take only the digestive ones, or do you take the other kind? I think there's pancreatic enzymes too, right?
No, I take a blend. I take a product by my company, Genesis Today, and it's called enzymes. It's called digestion, and it's from the Genessentials brand.
Okay.
And it's in health food stores, and it has everything in it. So it's got all your plant-based enzymes. It's got your hydrochloric acid as well, which I think is very important. And then it's got all your, most importantly, the heat-generating herbs. And so it's got your gentian and your asafoetida and your cloves and your ginger. It has all those herbs that basically stoke the digestive fires, and it's just really an advanced formula.
Wow, that sounds really, really good. Yeah, I see your products all the time in the health food store that I go to. And, as one of them I've been intrigued with lately, they've just started carrying it, is the noni. And a few years back, I was in Hawaii and attempted, I should say, to eat some noni. And man, I one bite and I couldn't do it. So is your noni, is it exactly taste like that, or what's the deal with noni?
Exactly. And ours is aged 21 weeks.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, you're talking about one of the most difficult things to take. Some people love it. I mean, I like it. I think that it tastes great. It doesn't bother me. Kind of after your palate gets cleaned out and we cut back on the sugar, it starts to taste better and better. But I've been taking noni for probably 17 years, and I take it every day. And like I always say, the more bitter, the better, and you can't get more bitter than noni. Yeah. Our two top selling groups of products by far is our superfruit juices, which are pure, our noni, goji, acai, and mangosteen, and then most recently has been our weight loss ingredients, because they're all completely naturals. Those are of the whole company. Those are our two top selling products by far.
Oh, wow. They sound so great. All right, we need to take a short break, Doctor. We'll be right back with Dr.
Okay.
Lindsey Duncan. His website is genesistoday.com. That's where he's got all his products. And his other website is it Ask Dr. Lindsey or just drlindsey.com?
Just drlindsey.com. It's Lindsey.
Okay, drlindsey.com, and we'll be right back after this break. I do a lot of weightlifting and lifting heavy weights at the gym, and I love it. But there's also another side to working out, which actually helps you increase the energy in your body. As you know, in our culture, just about everything is a stress to our body. It depletes us of life force energy and our energy in general, whether it's, coworkers or getting to work or dealing with difficult family members, things like that. All of these things cause stress and energy depletion in our body. And something like Qigong is a really great way to help cultivate your inner energy, and it's been practiced by people in the East for thousands of years. It's put together by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar. You can find it at extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, which is Qigong, and it's called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. And I highly recommend getting this product. It comes as a physical product to your house with really great DVDs and workbooks on how to do this ancient art of cultivating your inner energy and building that core energy of your body. And it's been practiced, like I said, for thousands of years. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. If nothing else, just go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, Qigong, and get on their mailing list, because they'll send you lots of free information as well. So check out Peter Ragnar. He looks amazing for how old he is. He's been doing this for like 60 years or something. It's really an amazing product. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. All right, we're having a good time with Dr. Lindsey Duncan from Genesis today. And Dr. Duncan, I wanted to ask you about some of your products. They're really intriguing to me. Like we were just talking before about the noni. And, you know, I was looking at I think it was the cacao or the goji the other day. And it's all cloudy and it just looks really thick and it just really looks amazing. And what's going on with these, the noni, the cacao, and all of those ones?
Sure. What we do and what we're kind of known for is basically keeping the product 100% pure, adding nothing to it. If the indigenous culture of the superfood says ferment it or age it, then we age it. We stay as true to tradition as we possibly can. So that's why when you flip the bottle over on our noni or our goji or our acai, you'll see it says ingredients, and then it'll say, acai, including the epicarp, the endocarp, the mesocarp. It means the whole fruit, and even the seed. You can't consume the acai seed, but you can scrape it to get the fibrous material. Oh. We use the whole plant, and that's why when you look next to it, it says amount per serving, 30,000 milligrams. And so you get 30,000 milligrams in 1 ounce, which is 1 milliliter, and that is, it's 30 milliliters. 30 milliliters equals 1 ounce, and that's 30,000 milligrams. So you know that you have a 100% pure superfood product, and that's what we're famous for. We don't touch it. We don't change it. We don't add any sugar to it. We don't add any other juices. We don't dilute it. We don't add water. We don't add anything. We import it, we buy it, we control many of the farms, and we bring it in and we bottle it and test it, and then we put it on the market. And it's very, very, very clean, and it's very pure, and it's very consistent with tradition, how it was processed, 1,000 or 2,000 years ago.
Golly, it looks just really incredible the way I turn it over, and it looks really thick and cloudy. Something that I heard many, many years ago when I first got into health, what was it? I believe it was the juice man, Jay Cordage. He said that anything that you get that's in a liquid state at the store is going to be flash pasteurized, and he was making the case for raw, fresh vegetable juice and things like that, which is great. So is your products, are those particular ones, are they pasteurized in any way, or how does that work?
Yes, they're all it's called flash pasteurized, and it's gently pasteurized, and over time we've reduced the amount of pasteurization, but by law you have to pasteurize a juice product. That's
unfortunate because you wouldn't do that if you didn't have to, right?
Well, it depends on the product, really. I think what we're talking about here is what is the pasteurization do to the product?
Right.
And when you break it down in a laboratory, you'll see that it doesn't really affect the vitamins or the minerals very much at all. What it affects is the enzymes, which is important. And we've got ours down to where we lose approximately, I'd say, 17 to 20% of the enzyme activity.
Oh, okay.
So we don't lose, like in the noni, we don't lose the dimencanthol or the scopoletin or the yacuban or the aspergilloside or aspergillosic acid. We do lose some of the basic enzymes.
Okay. Now, the noni looks really, really good. What kinds of things is the noni good for people?
Yeah, noni's great for the liver, the gallbladder. It's really good to stoke the digestive fires because it's a bitter. As you said earlier, it tastes really bad. It's really, really bitter, and it's a great blood purifier. Noni they've done wonderful and very impressive clinical trials with noni at the University of Hawaii with conditions with the lungs, and so. If you go online and go to PubMed and you type in Morinda citrifolia, which is noni's technical name or Latin name, you'll find all of these impressive clinical trials from anywhere from dealing with lung conditions all the way to infection.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds just like an amazing fruit and substance. Is there a correlation between the alkalinity of the noni fruit and weight loss? Does weight loss go hand in hand with alkalinity?
Yeah, I think when the body is more alkaline, then the body, it's easier to lose weight. But if I was going to work with somebody to lose weight, the noni wouldn't be my first choice. The first choice would be the green coffee bean extract, and then the second choice would be the Garcinia cambogia, and then the third choice would be the Caralluma fimbriata. Fourth would be saffron, and then fifth would be the red raspberry ketones. Noni would be more, I would utilize noni more for a blood purifier and more for liver, gallbladder, and to stoke the digestive fires.
Okay, so with people that are trying to lose a little bit of weight, maybe this coming year, what kinds of things are at the top of the list as far as, I'm just wondering what the role is with weight loss with like your hormones and your thyroid and things like that.
Yeah, well, your best nutrient on the planet for your thyroid is going to be iodine, and the highest source of iodine on the planet is going to come from the ocean, mainly from kelp. But anything from the ocean is going to be high in iodine. So your nori or any of your sea vegetables. For weight loss, I just was, several months ago, I was on the Dr. Oz show where I introduced the green coffee bean. And basically what they had asked me to talk about was a very, very important and very unique double-blind, placebo-controlled, linear crossover study that was basically, it was on human beings to find the safety and the efficacy of green coffee bean extract in overweight subjects. And the bottom line is, the summary is that the patients lost an average of 17 pounds, over a 22-week study. They lost 16% of their body fat, and they lost 10% of their total body weight, and they didn't have a caffeine rush. Matter of fact, their heart rate came down an average of 1 beat per minute on all the people in the study.
Wow, that's amazing. So the green coffee bean, is that just the same as a regular coffee bean, or what's the difference?
Yeah, the green coffee bean is raw, and when it's raw, it has all of these really neat, natural, beneficial compounds in it. The main one is called chlorogenic acids, and it's a group of acids that have believed to have very positive effects on the body. And when you cook the coffee bean or you roast it, it goes from being a beige, light green color to a very dark brown color. Oh. And because it's roasted at 475 degrees Fahrenheit, that's the average roasting temperature. Right. And the caffeine levels go up and the chlorogenic acid levels will come down. And then it becomes more of a stimulant, a cardio stimulant, and a central nervous system stimulant because of the high levels of caffeine. So basically, we just get the coffee raw without any chemicals, ground it up, put it into vegetarian capsules with no excipients or binders, test it to make sure that it has 45 to 50%, now that it has 45 to 50% chlorogenic acids in it, and then we are just getting absolutely amazing results.
Really? Golly, that's incredible. So are there other companies that are doing this? Like you said, you were on Dr. Oz and you introduced it, or is this kind of a brand new thing?
Yeah, I introduced it, and as soon as I introduced it, there were several hundred companies that jumped on the bandwagon. The problem is that we had a lot of them tested for the chlorogenic acid, and some of them had zero chlorogenic acid. One had 0.003, which is not even 1% chlorogenic acid. You're 20%, 29% is okay if you get enough of the capsule. 45% is what you're shooting for, and then 50% is really, really good. Unfortunately, most of the companies out there, especially the ones that are online, do not have the levels of chlorogenic acid and purity that I would recommend.
So what is the chlorogenic acid doing inside the body for weight loss?
What they believe in the trial, and they did this. This trial was done and presented in San Diego, but it was done. It's called the Diabetes Metabolic Syndrome and Obesity Target and Therapy, and you can find it, online. And the main clinical trial was done at the Scranton University in Pennsylvania, and there was several clinical trials done in France as well on the green coffee bean. And basically what they believe is happening is that the chlorogenic acid is slowing the release of sugar into the bloodstream, because everybody's blood sugar levels are coming down who take this. And when you slow the release of sugar into the bloodstream, then if you don't have sugar in your blood, then obviously anybody can tell you that you're not going to have the chance of fat building up in the blood, because sugar, unburned and unprocessed sugar by the human body, turns to what?
Turns to fat, doesn't it?
Turns to fat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And so what's happening is that people's bodies kind of going, hey, you know what, I'm not getting this sugar, and so it's not turning to fat, but the body's going, well, wait a minute, I need sugar, because we need glycosides and polysaccharides to stay alive, to function. And so it's believed, and it's not proven yet, but it's believed that the liver may be going, you know what, I'm going to release glycogen so the body can get by and have its energy. And so you have potentially two great effects happening. One is less sugar going into the bloodstream, and two is the body's releasing stored glycogen. Those are both great. From a nutritional standpoint, those are both, fantastic mechanisms.
Wow, and sugars are just linked to every kind of condition and issue.
Everything.
Yeah.
If there's an evil in the nutrition world, besides binging, it's sugar.
Yeah. Isn't it related to the cholesterol inside the arteries causing inflammation? Then you have the cholesterol that builds on top of that, and
triglycerides, absolutely, yes. It's related to all of that. It's related to damage to the liver. It's related to damage to the kidneys. It's related to feeding Candida albicans. Most nutritionists believe that the cancer feeds off of sugar. The list goes on and on and on. And so with green coffee bean, even if you didn't lose weight on it, even if all of the claims were exaggerated claims, it's worth it to take it just to stop the sugar from going into the bloodstream.
Yeah, because
and there are a lot of companies that are out there exaggerating. They're saying that you don't have to exercise, or you don't have to drink a lot of water, or you don't have to change your diet. I mean, there's companies and people out there that are really, really doing a disservice to this green coffee bean. It works, it's fantastic, but you don't go out there and say, yeah, go take your green coffee bean and then eat at McDonald's or Jack in the Box. That's just doing a disservice to our industry.
Right. Well, we have to sign off from Natural News Radio. Thank you to Mike Adams from naturalnewsradio.com for having us on his website. So, Doctor, with this green coffee bean, I imagine if people that are doing what you're talking about, it really causes an uphill battle, because if people are out there eating Twinkies and getting pizza and all this kind of stuff, and then they're taking the green coffee bean extract supplement, I mean, you're kind of just fighting an uphill battle with that, right?
It's not logical.
Yeah.
It's not healthy, it's not logical, and it's not what we're about.
Right. So you recommend, obviously, a huge change in diet along with taking a supplement like this.
Yeah, I recommend intelligent nutrition. I recommend lots of water, an alkaline diet, good, steady exercise, and then a combination of green coffee bean with Garcinia cambogia, Caralluma fimbriata for the appetite, and saffron. And those four, if you want to, you can add the red raspberry ketones, but those 4 or 5 natural food products can't be matched, in my opinion. Can't be matched in any weight control support program.
Gosh, I wonder if are there people working with really obese people, or have you worked with really obese people? Because this would be a great thing to put them on this type of program and see what happens. I
have worked with obese people. I've had great results, but the clinical trials have much better results than me. If you go to PubMed or Medline, or you dig into these single pure plant-based compounds that I'm talking about, and you dig deep enough, you will find very, very impressive clinical trials that speak for themselves.
Wow, that's great. So what kind of exercise do you recommend for people like this that are trying to lose a little bit of weight, or maybe they just want to be healthier? What kind of exercises do you typically tell people to do?
always sweating and panting. You know, going to the gym and standing in front of the mirror and flexing, you're not going to lose any weight. You have to get the cardiovascular system going. You have to get the panting happening. You have to get the sweating going. Uphill walking, light jogging, aerobics, yoga, anything that's going to get the body to sweat, pant, and stretch is fantastic.
What do you think of like rebounding or saunas, doing saunas and sweating that way?
Sweating in a sauna is good, but if I had a choice between a 5-mile run or in a 30-minute sauna, the 5-mile run is going to be hundreds of times better than a 30-minute sauna.
Right.
Rebounding is incredible because it's good for the lymphatic system, and there's more lymph fluid in the body than there is blood. And the quickest way and the most effective way to get the lymphatic system flowing is through rebounding itself.
Yeah, because the lymphatic system can't really detox itself, can it? I think
the heart, we have the heart, thank you, for pumping blood. And we don't have a heart to pump lymphatic fluid. The only thing that really can pump lymphatic fluid is cardiovascular exercise utilizing the thighs, the thigh muscles. In other words, going up and down. That's why going uphill, going upstairs, or rebounding and getting a burn in that thigh muscle is so important for the flow and the stimulation of the lymphatic fluid.
Wow, and they even put cancer patients on rebounding, don't they?
I believe nutritionists do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, but not a conventional doctor. But yeah, I've been learning about rebounding lately. It's quite an amazing thing. Yeah,
rebounding's amazing.
Wow. So what are your thoughts about detoxing, like using clays and maybe zeolites and things like that to get, some of this gunk out of people's bodies?
I think it's all good. If you use the clays, though, for a reasonable period of time, you have to be careful to not pull the bacteria out, or you just simply have to take a good probiotic and put the good bacteria back in.
And zeolite seems to be pretty, all the rage these days too, right?
It seems to be a pretty good product.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because with today's culture, I mean, gosh, people are living next to power plants and you got EMF radiation. And what are some of the ways that you buffer yourself against all this kind of stuff?
Oh, I just don't buy a home near it.
Yeah.
I stay away from it. Yeah. I have water in my office. I have air flowing through it. I sleep with windows open. Even when it's cold out, I have fresh air coming in. I make sure that the place that I live is non-toxic. I travel a lot, and I'm hit with pretty heavy doses from airplane travel. But then I take tons of antioxidants. I mean, this is a strategy. This is like a life. In this toxic world is like a chess game, and I've learned how to play the chess game well.
Right.
I've been doing it for 30 years, so I should.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, because with the traveling, I mean, a lot of people are in airplanes all the time, and that's really taxing on the body, isn't it?
Oh, I'm blasted with. Yeah, last month was Korea. 10 days ago, I got back from Japan. I travel way too much. And so I specifically have a program that I follow before I get on a plane, while I'm on the plane, and when I get off the plane.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Is that program outlined anywhere for people to read?
No, but I could probably post it on my website. It's pretty easy for me just to type it out and put it on my website.
Yeah, that would be interesting because, I've seen a lot of people, especially pilots, they're really breaking down at the end of their lives pretty quickly. And
they age so fast. Pilots and flight attendants age probably 7 to 10 times faster than the normal person.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, a lot of them are getting Alzheimer's disease. And, is that because of all the radiation? I guess it's just anything you're doing that's not natural is going to be a stress to you, right?
Yeah, it's the radiation. It's the chemicals. It's the chemicals that they use on the plane to clean them and to make sure that there's no diseases that travel to and from in and out of the country. And there's just the radiation of being in that plane at 40,000, 50,000 feet and having it closed off.
I've heard that it's better to fly at night because of that radiation and not having the sun beat on the plane like that. Have you heard that too?
Yeah, I've heard that, but I haven't seen any clinicals that back that up. But for me, it's like it regardless any time of day or night, it's bad.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you have to really buffer yourself against, and it's a good thing you're doing that.
Yeah, and it's all strategy. This is we have these same issues, but just in different parts of our life that we do with travel through with planes. I mean, just the computer, the phone, the technology, everything. It all releases toxic waves.
Yeah, unfortunately, in order to live in today's society, I mean, it's like you have to have 75 different strategies that you do every day,
Right, and that's why you grab onto the things that work, and then you keep them going. You continue to implement them every single day of your life.
Yeah, wow. Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Doctor, for being on and sharing a little bit about your Genesis Today products and talking a little bit about this stuff. It's really been fun.
Absolutely. I enjoy your show. I'm going to start following you guys on Facebook, and Mike Adams is a good friend of mine. I think Mike probably interviewed me for the first time maybe 16, 17 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yep. Well, he's a good friend.
Yeah, he's down in Texas.
Respect him a lot.
He's down in Texas too, isn't he?
He is. He's in Austin, right where I am.
Yeah, and I think he kind of fled the country for a few years, and then he came back, didn't he?
I think so.
Got to find some safety.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, we love Mike. Doctor, would you mind holding the line for just a moment while I close out the show?
Sure, not at all. That's fine.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much for being on again.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on another edition of Extreme Health Radio. Dr. Duncan is he's such a fun guest and such a great guy doing amazing work, and his products are great. You can check them out in your health food store too, or on Genesis Today, so I recommend you do that. Thank you again for joining us. I really, really appreciate it, and I just wanted to thank Mike Adams from naturalnewsradio.com for having us on his site, and I want to just let you know that we're 100% listener supported, so if you found value in this show, please feel free to donate. You can donate as little as $1 through PayPal. It's completely secure, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate that. That would help to pay the bills around here and make sure that we keep our site free for everybody so that everyone can benefit from people like Dr. Duncan and his vast knowledge and things like that. So we also have a store on our website with lots of great products as well, like the Vitamix blender and rebounders and courses like Qigong and pregnancy classes and things like that. So check out our store for lots of great products, and don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us and all that good stuff, and share our links with your friends if you so desire. We would greatly, greatly appreciate that. So again, thanks for listening. If you have any questions or need any help, just email me, Justin@extremehealthradio.com.